Welcome everyone to the Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods and a Jimmy V Week for Cancer Research on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation season. Shea Lewis with Matt Glover, Tim Frazier the backcourt, Billy Oliver's a good three-point shooter, and Ross Travis up front. And for Boston College, 2-4 to start the year, 3 freshmen in the lineup. Heckman joined by Ryan Anderson, a top recruit, and Casey Cottle. Matt Humphrey, a transfer from Oregon's in the backcourt with their point guard, Gabe Moton. Boston College dressed in the home white. Jamie Lucky leading our officiating crew with Mike Eads and Ray Stein. And the tip controlled by no one, finally gathered in by Boston College, and then a backcourt violation. So an awkward start. Neither team controlled the tip, and when BC finally got control, an immediate turnover. Patrick Chambers, 40-year-old head coach at Penn State, after the last 2 seasons just about 2 miles away up Commonwealth Avenue at Boston University, where he did a terrific job, won 21 games both years, and had the BU Terriers in the NCAA tournament last year for the first time since 2002.
Interesting there, Sean. The referees declared BC had possession, so Penn State still has the arrow and the ball, and an early turnover for BC.
Matt Glover for Penn State. This is a new look starting lineup tonight for the Nittany Lions. They've been a very slow starting team, so Patrick Chambers has gone to a smaller, quicker lineup, hoping they'll get off more quickly. Tim Frazier dumped it off, and a couple of misses by Ross Travis. He's one of the newcomers to the starting lineup. Good on the boards and plays with a lot of energy. Patrick Heckman missed a 3.
Penn State will look to push the pace and attack the glass. 2 offensive rebounds early. They don't feel BC will look to run, so look for Penn State to crash from the guard spot.
3 in the air wouldn't go for Matt Glover. Both teams have really struggled to shoot the ball this year. Both overall from the floor 37.5%. And worse than that from 3. Heckman's now 0 for 2 from 3, but got his own rebound and bounced it off Trey Lewis. It'll be BC ball. Scoreless, a minute 10 in. Steve Donahue in his 2nd season as head coach at BC. They won 21 games last year. Just missed the NCAA tournament, but they lost 89% of their scoring, including Reggie Jackson, who was a first-round pick of Oklahoma City. Casey Cottle, another top recruit out of California, 6'10" freshman, with the first bucket of the game.
Well, the big fella. He doesn't look like a freshman. He looks like a grizzled veteran out there, but he is a freshman. Nice little post move. He's got a nice handle around the basket as far as a feel.
I saw the graphic. You'd have to guess that Penn State would get off to a better start tonight than they did Saturday in Philly against St. Joe's. Frazier came to the stop. His shot was short, and a foul called on Heckman. They trailed 22-0 at St. Joe's Saturday.
The big fella's got a size advantage in there. He's burly. He's about 280. Came in here over 300, but he's got to throw his body around a little bit more on the offensive end, not just to score, but setting screens to free people up.
Well, Steve Donahue says most of these young freshmen need to get bigger and stronger. Cottle's plenty big already and was even bigger before he shed those 30 pounds Tim was talking about. More misses for Penn State. This is reminiscent now of Saturday for them, and you wonder if that can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You keep getting off to bad starts. They're 0 for 6 tonight.
Well, especially on the road, and against St. Joe's over the weekend. That was their first true road game, and one of the nightmares of being a coach is not only having a young group, but bringing them on the road and figuring out how to play and win.
Three-second violation called against Billy Oliver. Patrick Chambers said we need to be scrappy and gritty. And when your team is young and not as talented as you'd like, you hear coaches say that. Steve Donahue said we need to be nasty.
Competitive, nasty, gritty, determined. all those words that you use when you're not very good and when you're very young. But I think these teams will play hard, that's for sure, especially on the defensive end of the floor.
As you know, Tim, when you're in a situation like Chambers and Donahue are in with very young and rebuilding teams, you need to win every game that you have a realistic chance to win. And this is a winnable game for both teams. Certainly seems to be an even matchup coming in. Cottle scores again. He has all 4 points in the game.
Well, you have to win these games that are winnable, but you also have to stay positive with your group. You don't want them to lose hard. You're going to take some beatdowns, there's no question about it, but you're coaching for the long haul.
There's Ross Travis, one of the Penn State freshmen, 6'6" forward out of Chaska, Minnesota. He had a nice ball game Saturday in that loss at St. Joe's. Got rewarded with the start tonight by Patrick Chambers. Cottle has all 6 BC points, and he'll go to the line with a chance for a 3-point play. BC worked at length yesterday on how to attack the pressure. They have a negative assist turnover ratio, one of the worst in the country, but that time doing a nice job attacking weak side middle and then going to the big fella in the paint. Foul was on Travis. His first foul. 6-2 Boston College. Whoops, another turnover. A foul called against Penn State's Tim Frazier after he lost the ball. Steve Donahue didn't like the foul call because he wanted the fast break. Thought they had numbers and a chance for an easy 2. First foul on Frazier. Third team foul against Penn State. Dennis Clifford has come off the bench for Boston College, number 24, 7-foot freshman.
Penn State will mix and match their defenses now, falling back into their zone. They'll match up on the perimeter, a little aggressive 3-2, trying to make BC beat them from the perimeter.
Moton converts a 3, just his 3rd of the season. And a timeout called by Penn State. Patrick Chambers is reliving the Saturday nightmare when his team fell behind 22-0 at St. Joe's. Wound up scoring 10 points in the entire first half. In that game, Tim, they went 4 for 38 from the floor in the first half, 10.5%.
Well, they came in with the wide eyes down in Philadelphia, and St. Joe's put the beat down on them. But tonight, they seem to be out of sync early. They can't even get into their offense. They have trouble entering to the wing, turning the ball over. They don't seem to have any sort of rhythm or know what they're doing, except and Tim Frazier really kind of is standing around off the ball and instead of trying to make things happen on his own.
Penn State 5-2, but the wins are against Hartford, Radford, Long Island University, South Florida, and Youngstown State. Losses to Kentucky, and then the game we've mentioned a couple of times already, St. Joe's, which was their first true road game Saturday in a tough environment with a young team. Patrick Chambers thought second true road game here tonight they'd be a bit better equipped to be calm at the start. Well, they haven't played like it. Jermaine Marshall just off the bench, never did get the shot up to the rim. Frazier might have had it deflected by Ryan Anderson. And there's a BC foul, just as the Eagles thought they were about to break the other way. Casey Cottle, the star of the first 4 minutes, and BC leads by a touchdown.
Looking for all-star gifts? Find them at Dick's Sporting Goods.
We have a huge selection of Nike and Under Armour performance apparel.
New BB Core baseball bats.
Plus basketball, lacrosse, and football.
Golf ball brands you see on tour like Titleist, TaylorMade, and Callaway.
Plus ellipticals and treadmills. Can't decide? Give a Dick's gift card.
Outerwear from Columbia and Burton's.
Spider and the North Face.
And fishing gifts.
Plus a great selection of accessories.
Using your scorecard is like getting over 3% cash back.
Shop us online 24 hours a day at dicksportinggoods.com.
Every season starts at Dick's.
Many will hear the calling.
Move it! Yes, sir!
Few will earn the title United States Marine. The few, the proud Marines.
I shop on my laptop. I book flights on my tablet. I bank on my phone. I have Kaspersky One on all my devices, so I know I'm always safe.
Introducing Kaspersky One Universal Security. All you need is one.
The Women's College Cup, Friday and Sunday on ESPNU.
ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. Just a few miles from Faneuil Hall, the Boston College campus. And the homestanding Eagles leading 9-2 over Penn State. The Nittany Lions 1 for 9 from the floor, and it's more of the same for Coach Patrick Chambers this season. His team in the 7 first halves prior to tonight, averaging 26 points, shooting 29% in their first halves, and 24% from 3. The good news, Tim Welsh, they do get better in the second half.
Well, yes, but the bad news is that the first half counts as much as the second half. And the problem is Pat Chambers has mixed and matched his lineups all season long. He's trying to find the right combination, but that's the guy right there, Tim Frazier. He has to be more aggressive. He can't be a distributor. He's got to be very aggressive and almost selfish with the basketball.
He's their leading scorer at 19 a game, leading rebounder, leading assist man, and leader in steals. The only returning starter from that Penn State team of a year ago. As Sasha Borovniak moved toward the bucket, he was fouled by Dennis Clifford, his first. They went 19-15 last year, 9-9 in the Big Ten. Made a great run late in the year, memorably advanced to the Big Ten tournament championship game, defeated Michigan State in the semis of that tournament, really to get them into the NCAA. But they have a lot of talent that's gone and playing overseas now.
Well, Taylor Battle leads that list and one of the great guards of the Big Ten and in the country a year ago, and they lost their coach. So I mean, it's totally a rebuilding situation. But Pat Chambers is, he's an energizer, not only on the sidelines during games, but he's very positive. This morning in the meeting, and instead of showing film for an hour, he gave him a motivational speech on how to win on the road. And they'll play hard all season long. And they won't see much success, but you'll see a lot of energy.
Lonnie Jackson has checked in for Boston College. He's number 20. And yes, you guessed it, a freshman. And here's Jackson, who was on the sideline as he took the pass. BC's had a very rough start to this year. They are 2-4. Their only wins were a 3-point win here against New Hampshire and an overtime out in Anaheim against UC Riverside in the 76 Classic, one of 3 games they played out there. The only one that they won. They've had a 22-point loss to Holy Cross, a 36-point loss to UMass, 18-point defeat to New Mexico. They lost by 11 to St. Louis. Very good team this year for Rick Majerus.
St. Louis, interesting. They win the Anaheim tournament, and then they go and get beat at Loyola Marymount last night.
Strong drive by Trey Lewis, the freshman from Garfield Heights, Ohio. Talented incoming player for Penn State. Lewis, number 3 for the Nittany Lions, is the runner-up for Mr. Ohio basketball last year to Trey Burke, who's already starring as a freshman point guard at Michigan.
Steve Donahue very worried about attacking this zone. They don't shoot well from the perimeter.
And there's Ryan Anderson, his 8th 3 of the year, freshman from Lakewood, California. Highly touted recruit. He was the California State Player of the Year.
He's a good-looking player. He's about 6'9". He's strong. He's got a nice stroke. Hasn't shown much, but they're looking good in the corner.
And the response is an air ball from Cameron Woodyard, the only senior on the Penn State team. Pass inside, batted away, and Trey Lewis couldn't save it for the Nittany Lions. 21 to shoot for Boston College. It's the Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods from the Silvio Conti Forum on the campus of Boston College in Chestnut Hill. Sean McDonough and Tim Welsh. Big Ten lost the first 10 years in a row in this event, but won the last 2, both years winning 6 games to 5. And they lead this time around 4-2.
State putting a little statement on this matchup last night. But Duke, coming back where you were, Maui, takes a few days to recover from that, and their legs were a little lacking last night. I don't think they were ready for a road game at Ohio State on the back end of being Maui.
Now. They left Maui on Thanksgiving. They're young kids. Now Bill Raftery would have an excuse.
Well, they don't fly first class
sluggish
like you do, Sean. So.
Jermaine Marshall powers inside. And it's 12-6 BC. First bucket off the bench from Marshall. Patrick Chambers thinks he could be their X factor this year. Has a lot of talent. He was suspended for 3 weeks at the beginning of the year for off the court issues, and if he can get it together, he could really help. Frazier a steal. And a timeout called by Steve Donahue.
Well, there's where you see Tim Frazier not only being assertive on the offensive end, but defensively getting out in the passing lanes. He can do it all for them. He leads them in assists, rebounds, points, but steals as well. He gets out on the overplay, and this is BC's young ball club. Telegraphing passes, Clifford from the top, not ball faking. Easy deuce for Frazier.
And that's been a recurring problem, as you know, Tim, for BC. We looked yesterday at their practice, at their stats. I've never seen an assist-to-turnover ratio like Boston College's. 56 assists and 94 turnovers entering tonight's action. And that's against a much weaker schedule that they're going to see when they get into ACC play. So if they're turning it over against the weaker teams on their schedule, they're in for a real tough time trying to handle against teams like Duke and North Carolina.
You know, it's a combination of a lot of things. You know, you start with the youth, you start with the not understanding of the system yet totally, and then not understanding how to play with each other at this level. So a lot of issues right now for BC, ball handling being one of the major ones.
4 turnovers tonight, and they just lost it again right on cue. Momentum on the side of the Nittany Lions, and it continues after a 3 by Trey Lewis.
Part of BC's problem is they're throwing the 7-footer of the ball out where he's not comfortable with it. They're almost another turnover.
Ryan Anderson well off to the left with that shot from the foul line. 7-0 run for Penn State, and now the Lions can take the lead. And they do on another 3. Jermaine Marshall.
Way Penn State wants to play. Feisty, get into the pressure, 3/4 court, half court, attack you, trap on the post, all over the court.
Matt Humphrey a miss. He's really struggled to shoot the ball in his first year here at BC. 27% from the floor, and Steve Donahue says it's largely shot selection.
Well, again, right there, he's got the ability to take the ball, break the defense down.
Cameron Woodyard missed a 3 for Penn State. 11.5 to go first half.
Penn State now in the man-to-man, but the zone has given them major problems, both extended and in the half court.
Another BC turnover. It looked like Borovniak might have committed a foul while flicking it away for Penn State. Lewis, 3 pops out, and the rebound down to Ryan Anderson, averaging 6 boards a game.
So, as we said before, throwing Clifford the ball out on the perimeter, probably not a smart idea. And when he does get it there, dribbling it has been lethal.
Anderson was fouled by Frazier before the shot. Well, Penn State started slowly, as has been their custom, but by virtue of the 3 ball, they've taken the lead by 2 nearly midway through the first half.
I don't want to get up. I don't want to go to work. I hate mornings. Great, I have 20 minutes. No time for coffee. Hello, my friend.
Can't get it together in the morning? Try 5-Hour Energy. It's simple, effective, and unlike coffee, it's ready right now. No waiting, no hassle.
Let's do this.
5-Hour Energy, the no wait, no hassle way to a great morning.
Let's ring you up.
Mary? What are you doing here?
It's Megan. I'm getting new insurance.
Marjorie, you've had a policy with us for 3 years.
It's been 5 years.
5 years.
Well, Progressive gives Megan discounts that you guys didn't.
Paperless, safe driver, and I get great service.
Meredith, what's shaking, bacon?
They'll figure it out.
Getting you the discounts you deserve. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
On May 12th, I was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma. When you first hear about cancer, it's scary, and it's something that is related to, death and suffering. And then you go through the process, and you start hanging out at chemotherapy with tons of other people who are going through it. And it really changes from being about death and despair to prospering and strength. Never give up. To hear those words is enlightening and empowering. Raising money for cancer research, it's a fight. This fight that I've been going through has been the toughest of my life, but it's one that I intend to win.
Well, Mark Hertzlick, one of the most popular athletes, one of the best athletes ever here at Boston College, football star. Had to have a rod inserted into his leg, but he certainly heard and lived by the words of Jim Valvano. He did not give up, and now he's a starter at linebacker for the New York Giants. And what great work the V Foundation has done in memory of our dear departed friend and colleague, the late great Jim Valvano. More than $90 million in cancer research grants through the V Foundation. And there is no bigger Boston College fan in any sport than Doug Flutie, always here at his alma mater to cheer on a wide variety of teams. Doug very nearly played on the basketball team while he was here. He wanted to, but as it turns out, he went from fifth-string quarterback to a pretty important guy on the football team.
With the relaxed look here on a beautiful Wednesday evening in Boston.
Yeah, how about the weather here? It's been 60 degrees almost the entire month of November. One of the warmest Novembers on record here in the hub of the universe. Penn State ball on the deflection out of bounds. Matt Glover will play it in. And now Trey Lewis out there with Sasha Borovniak. Tim Frazier still out there, hasn't really gotten started. And Cameron Woodyard. Rebound by Casey Caudle. John Cal's in the ball game for BC, number 2, graduate student. There's Cal. Patrick Heckman. And another 3-ball that wouldn't drop for the freshman from Germany. He's now 0 for 3.
Well, Heckman's got to try to drive the ball a little bit to the basket. He has the ability to shoot to get to the free throw line. Against this zone, he's drifting out on the perimeter.
BC more than 4 minutes without a bucket. They're 0 for their last 5. Well, Penn State's on a 10-0 run. Air ball from Jermaine Marshall. Tomorrow night, ESPNU has a doubleheader from the HTC Big East SEC Challenge at 7 Eastern. Providence meets South Carolina, and at 9, Ole Miss faces Jeremiah Kelly and the DePaul Blue Demons. The HTC Big East SEC Challenge on ESPNU tomorrow night. You got to look at DePaul.
A little better. Oliver Purnell's got them playing his up-tempo style. They've got a few more athletes, and Cleveland Melvin is one of the best forwards in the Big East.
They had a nice freshman year last year for DePaul. Humphrey averaged 5 points per game as a sophomore at Oregon before he transferred. And there's a 3 from John Cal. Walked on last year as a senior. Played very few minutes early on, but just did more and more to impress the coaches. Doesn't make mistakes. He's an excellent 3-point shooter, better than 50% for his career.
And he's the only guy out there that in their rotation has a plus assist to turnover ratio. So you know why he's on the floor. He has the smarts.
You see, when 5 minutes between buckets, and now an offensive foul on Matt Glover in his first year at Penn State. JC transfer from Sheridan Community College in Wyoming.
Well, part of being young is knowing when to go and when to slow. And here, as you drive into the gap, Glover, there's nowhere to go there. He should have kicked it back out, but he put his head down.
Freshman Lonnie Jackson drew the charge for BC. Eagles leading by 1. They've never lost in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. They're 5-0. Only team that's never lost in either conference in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Heckman followed Tim's advice, went inside to score his first bucket.
Well, that's why I like him. You know, he's not your prototypical European soft, wants to stay out on the perimeter, just shoot threes and thinks the paint's wet. He gets inside, and nice post-up game.
Penn State 4-6 all time in the challenge. They lost to Maryland last year and won the previous 3. Good stick-to-itiveness, the offensive glass, and a bucket by Billy Oliver, coming off a career-high 12 Saturday in their loss at St. Joe's.
Well, Penn State doing a nice job on the glass. This was their game plan coming in. They know BC will not look to run very often, so they're going to crash from the guard spot.
Cal, his dad John Cal, one of the best college basketball officials in the country. Jackson fouled, took it down the lane, and he was fouled by Ross Travis. 2 fouls on Travis. Just under 8 to go, first half. A 1-point game in Boston.
Women's soccer crowns a national champ on ESPNU. Friday at 5, the first semifinal. And Sunday at 1, the nation's best shoot for the title. The Women's College Cup. Friday and Sunday on ESPNU.
ESPNU is the home court of college hoops. Saturday at 1, sophomore sensation Chaz Williams and the Minutemen take on the Hurricanes. Then at 3, Robbie Hummel and the Boilermakers battle the Musketeers. UMass Miami at 1, Purdue Xavier at 3, Saturday on ESPNU.
Stars can turn great entertainment into an amazing HD experience. Big original series in HD. Big hit movies in HD. Order Stars today and get $25 cash back. Get up to 15 Stars and Encore channels, 8 in HD. Over 1,000 different movies and series a month.
I can't think of anyone less suited to being a teacher.
Add the Stars Super Pack today and get $25 cash back. Stars, the best entertainment value on DirecTV.
I'm gonna grab some more munchies. Be back in a sec. Cool.
What's up, Clay Matthews? You want a piece of me?
This ain't over, punk! Whoa, I see you met my Clay Matthews fathead.
Real big fathead. Get yours at fathead.com.
Anish Shroff here in studio with the Sports Center U in-game, checking in on Indiana and NC State. Christian Watford for the Hoosiers. And Indiana, 6-0. They're leading 29-27 right now. Sean?
They're starting to make some progress under Tom Crean, who had a major rebuilding job to do. And similar, Tim, to the job that these two coaches have to do. We've talked about all the departing talent. Both teams lost 80% or more of their scoring from last year. And Patrick Chambers' situation has gotten a bit more difficult with the scandal at Penn State now. He acknowledged a few days ago that this is something that he and all the other coaches beyond the football program have to talk about when they go out on the recruiting trail with prospective recruits and their parents.
I'm sure he's addressed it right away with all of his recruits, his players, the program, the people around the program. And clearly a guy that's a positive influence in the program, within the program, because of just his energy and his upbeat way.
We hope that the sins of a few wouldn't taint everything at Penn State University. I mean, it's a terrific university with a lot of great people there, and Patrick Chambers and his basketball program obviously had nothing to do with the nightmare that unfolded.
Well, the first thing they did right back last spring was they hired Patrick Chambers when Eddie DeChellis did a terrific job there left. And you've got to find the right fit there. It's not an easy job. There's no question about it.
Ed DeChellis left late in May when the Navy job opened up to become the head coach at Navy. So Patrick Chambers was hired in June, so really didn't have time to go out and recruit at all. These were all players he inherited, most of them incoming recruits that he inherited based on the high number of freshmen from Ed DeChellis. Job one, try to get to work in Philadelphia. Tap that talent base a bit more effectively than Penn State basketball has in the past.
Well, it's a tricky recruiting. area because Philly kids traditionally have wanted to play in the Big East. New Jersey, not that far away either.
Those Big Five schools.
The Big Five schools. Or they've gone to Pittsburgh to play in the Big East. But that man on the sidelines, he has all the Philly connections. He's got an assistant from D.C., so he's got the East Coast covered. That's where he's going to hit the road running.
Nice move to the bucket by Jermaine Marshall to put the Nittany Lions back up by 1. Gabe Moton out there with John Cal, Matt Humphrey, Dennis Clifford, and Ryan Anderson for Boston College.
Steve Donahue's office, they continue to go through the big man at the top, but Clifford having major problems handling the ball.
Maybe that'll get Humphrey started. Mentioned he struggled to score all season long. You sit out a year as a transfer, you know your team needs you to score. There's a lot of pressure on a guy like Humphrey starting out in a new program and also knowing that his team is offensively challenged.
Oh, he's their most athletic wing player. He's going to take more chances in the lane and getting to the rim instead of settling all the time.
Marshall. Pat Chambers said he could be the X factor. He has been tonight. Instant offense off the bench. And Humphrey, another quick three that wouldn't go. Run down by Sasha Barovniak from Serbia. Went to high school in North Carolina.
Steve Donahue rubbing his forehead in frustration. Good play, bad play by Humphrey.
Five and a half to go, first half. Sean McDonough, Tim Welsh at Connie Forum in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, on the outskirts of Boston. Ryan Anderson, an air ball. As Clifford was chasing after it, he was being held by Billy Oliver. Fouls a concern for Penn State. Tim Frazier's been on the bench with 2 fouls. Glover has 2. Ross Travis has 2, and now Oliver has 2.
Well, it's interesting to see Pat Chambers as a young coach. What is his philosophy? And there's the answer. Is he going to keep Tim Frazier on the bench for the rest of the half? And I would think that would not be a problem against BC. They don't have explosive guards where he's going to be in a situation where he has to foul or needs to foul.
Neither team has made a free throw yet. They're combined 0 for 5. Right on cue, it's Dennis Clifford. 7-footer from just down the road in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Attended Milton Academy just south of Boston. Good looking stroke from the free throw line. Boston College back up by 2. Strong drive and out of control is Billy Oliver. He charged into John Cal. We talked about the little things that Cal does to earn the playing time. There's another example.
Well, he's a heady player. He knows where to go on the offensive end of the floor, how to space, and then defensively stepping up and taking it from the big fella right in the chest.
So Oliver heads to the bench. Frazier's going to go back out as well. Patrick Ackerman has checked in for the first time for Penn State. Nick Colella's on the court as well. Colella's number 20 at the top of this zone, a walk-on. Humphrey isn't bashful, but it's another miss. And the rebound by Ackerman. He's from Rutland, Massachusetts. His dad, Tom, longtime coach at Assumption College back in the day, just up the street in Worcester, Mass.
Team's trying to spread and move the ball quickly on the perimeter.
Colella's 3 popped out. Rebound got deflected to Humphrey. Anderson dumped it off, but was out of control on the drive and charged. Good defense by Barovniak. First foul on Ryan Anderson. Eddie Odio comes in for the first time, another BC freshman, one of the 9, one of the 7 on scholarship. Big Ten ACC Challenge continuing tonight, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. The Big Ten trying to win it for the 3rd year in a row after 10 straight years of capturing the challenge by the ACC.
Great game tonight. Wisconsin and Carolina battle the point guards.
Mad scrum right in front of us and a held ball. The ball will go to Penn State. BC's had 9 turnovers in this first half. Friday night, the HTC Big East SEC Challenge right here on ESPNU, a doubleheader at 7. Yancey Gates played Cincinnati against Georgia. And at 9, Auburn takes on Seton Hall. I think you'll be at that one, won't you?
We'll be down at the Rock in Newark. Seton Hall playing pretty well this year. They did a nice job down in the Charleston tournament, losing in the finals to a very good Northwestern club.
Clifford, the handoff to Moton. He's their starting point guard, and he has 6 assists for the year coming in. Guard play really is the biggest concern for Steve Donahue. The good news is that they have commitments from 2 outstanding guards for next year who they think will come in and help right away. Humphrey had to launch the 3 with the shot clock. He didn't have to launch that one. I'll tell you what, he shot a horrible percentage, Tim, but he is not the least bit deterred.
He's not deterred, or he's not very organized on how, on what Steve Donahue wants.
And a 3 up and good from Marshall, who leads all scores. He has 12 points off the bench for Penn State. The Nittany Lions lead by 1 with under 3 to go in the first half.
Really, Humphrey has talent. Transfer from Oregon. Nice play there on the back door.
And the feed from Moton. There's another assist.
Well, that's where he has to go, Sean. He has to mix up his game. He stands outside the three-point line, and clearly he's struggled from that area, shooting only about 29% coming into today. But he is very athletic, as you saw in that cut. He can do a lot of damage around the rim.
Foul called, and it's against Penn State. It's on Ackerman. And that's his first. Matt Humphrey's bucket puts BC back up by 1, 2.5 to go in the first half.
I definitely love the preparation, and I also hate it sometimes, but that's what we have to put in to get what you want. I've learned to love it overall. Just imagining winning at the highest level, that's what gets me going.
Dig in, baby. It's the W, new from Wendy's. Double beef, double cheese, our best toppings and signature sauce on a buttered toasted bun. Try it now for just $2.99. The W, only at Wendy's.
How are we going to make this season better than the last? How about making it brighter, more colorful, and putting all our helpers to work? So we can build on our favorite traditions by adding a few new ones. We've all got garlands and budgets to stretch, and this year we can keep them both evergreen. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Can you smell those savings? Fresh cut Christmas trees are arriving weekly.
And Eddie Schroff here in the Sports Center U studio. Coming up at halftime, what Penn State interim head coach Tom Bradley was told today, plus the latest on the investigation into former Syracuse assistant Bernie Fine, and we'll check into the other ACC Big Ten matchups.
All right, Anish, thank you very much. Certainly Tom Bradley's done a nice job with the Penn State football program, stepping into an incredibly difficult situation. Well, we had some spirited conversations while you were away for the commercial break. Here is the foul right before the timeout. You can make the argument it should have been on Moton of Boston College, but what made Patrick Chambers doubly mad was originally they charged it to Frazier, which would have been his third. And after they talked about it and reviewed it at the monitor, they did change it to Patrick Ackerman.
It was clearly, if it was on any Penn State player, it was on Ackerman. For
I thought it should have been on BC, didn't you?
Yeah, he reached in, but Ackerman, I see how they probably called it on him as well, with he slid his hip on the dribble handoff.
So BC ball, 1-point lead. Moton killing time. with Odio, who has it now. His dad's the coach at Perry University, a Division II school in South Florida. Caesar Odio, longtime coach there. 5 to shoot. Moton, the reverse lay-in. Nicely done by the sophomore from St. Petersburg, Florida.
Penn State, no rotations that time. Moton just taking the ball from the deep corner to the other side of the rim, and Penn State allowing him an easy look.
Looks like Patrick Chambers might play the rest of the half now without Frazier after that near miss on the 3rd foul. Air ball thrown up by Woodyard.
That's a good move, but another good move if he would go back to zone, because BC looks much more comfortable playing against the man-to-man than they did against their matchup zone.
Steve Donahue said historically his teams don't play much against zones. He's always had such good shooting teams at Cornell and here at BC last year, but they don't have those kind of shooters this season, so they're seeing much more zone than his teams typically face.
BC called for the chuck on the weak side, and Matt Humphrey, he's a tough guard when he's moving without the ball, but he gets caught standing way too much, falling in love with that jump shot in the 3-point line, and he could make a lot of things happen on the baseline for BC.
Alan Borovniak was his first. Here comes Frazier back in as they go to offense. He's had a very quiet first half. May in some ways be encouraging to Patrick Chambers that they're very much in the ball game. With only 2 points from their leading scorer, averaging 19 a game.
The foul trouble can sometimes take the life out of you and your energy away offensively, but he came out of the gates not very assertive today. He's got to get going for Penn State.
Marshall out of the corner. What a first half for Jermaine Marshall. In the doghouse at the start of the year, suspended for 3 weeks, didn't play in the opener, but when you play as he has tonight, Coach, you dig your way out of the doghouse rather quickly, as long as you continue to do the other important things off the court as well.
Well, he's probably their most talented forward, guys that can make plays. He played some last year. He has the ability to not only knock down the shot, as you saw, but make plays around the rim as well.
Foul Trey Lewis, his first.
If I'm Pat Chambers, I would feel pretty good about being down possibly only 4, and I'd take a look at taking Tim Frazier out of the game, because they're definitely going to come back on defense for one last possession.
Double bonus situation here, so Moton is shooting 2. First made free throw of the year. He's 0 for 2 starting tonight. Danny Rubin has checked in for BC, number 31, a sophomore, walk on.
We gave Moton a lot of credit, though, defensively. He's done a nice job on Frazier, and Steve Donahue said that yesterday. He guarded guys like Malcolm Delaney a year ago in the ACC. He's done a terrific job of forcing him to stay out on the perimeter. He's kind of taking his lanes away into the basket.
Frazier banged by Cottle, but that's just the 6th-team foul on Boston College. They had 1 to give. Tomorrow night, ESPNU with a doubleheader from that HTC Big East SEC Challenge at 7 Eastern. Tim's old school Providence takes on South Carolina. And at 9, Ole Miss takes on DePaul. It's tomorrow night. Ed Cooley's had a nice recruiting class coming into Providence.
Cooley's got the energy back in Providence. The people love him down there, and rightfully so. The ex-Boston College assistant and Fairfield coach is doing a tremendous job, not only on the recruiting trails, but within the program, and building a lot of positive energy, not only on campus, but in the community as well.
Shot clock is off. Frazier turned it over. Cal has time. Good play by Lewis to flick it away. Frazier at the buzzer, no. It is 2 points and 4 assists for Frazier. The Steve Donahue's Boston College Eagles lead by just 3, despite the problems for the best player on either team.
Tim Frazier's got to get going, though, in the second half. Penn State looks a little weary on the road.
They're down by 3. Here's Anish Shroff with Sports Center U.
All right, thank you very much, Sean. Here in the Sports Center U studio with Adrian Branch. Florida State taking on Michigan State. Out of the Breslin Center, look out, Bernard James.
Two defensive-minded teams, last man standing. The tough man's going to win this one.
Draymond Green from the outside, that's a 3, ties the game up at 9. And then later, more from, dare I say, King James. No, we'll just call him Bernard.
No, let's just stop at Bernard.
We'll stop at Bernard. Florida State within 1 at that point. And then it's time for Brandon Wood. Do you respect Wood?
Absolutely. Upperclassman, Valparaiso, he was a star and made contributions already.
He's got 10. That game right now is being delayed. With Adrian Branch and Anish Shroff, Sports Center U at the half. The game you're watching, Penn State and Boston College, pretty close first half. Thoughts?
Puppy races, puppy races. When you look at both teams collectively at one time, there can be as many as 8 freshmen out there. So this reminds me of going to the county fair and you see the little pig races when they're out there racing. Well, this reminds me of the little puppy races because both teams extremely young.
All right, we got 2 pretty good teams. Indiana and NC State both off to a good start here in the early season. Indiana, in fact, after a few down seasons in a row, they're undefeated. Cody Zeller's parents, brother Tyler, plays at North Carolina. They got to get to Chapel Hill at some point, either after this game or maybe you leave at some point in the second half. Zeller, the post-up spin move. C.J. Leslie, big-time recruit as a freshman last year.
Absolutely. This is going to be a huge game for both teams because Indiana and NC State want to finish in the upper half of their conferences.
A 1-point game there. You just saw Jordan Hulls going in for the 2. And so the Big Ten leading the 8.
Get this straight.
Then we welcome you back to the Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. And a Jimmy V week as it continues. The emphasis on cancer research across the ESPN family. We continue our commitment to the V Foundation and Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer at the break. Boston College leading Penn State 29-26. Welcome back to Chestnut Hill. Sean McDonough, Tim Welsh. Interesting first half as we expected. 2 young teams, a competitive game, a little struggle to score every now and then, as has been the way throughout this young season for both squads.
Well, BC, though, much more efficient in the first half, moving the ball around, balanced scoring, not turning it over, and on the defensive end of the floor, keeping Tim Frazier in check. Even though he's been in foul trouble, they've done a nice job of limiting his looks at the basket.
BC got off to a great start, led 12-4, which was the largest lead for either team in the game. Casey Cottle had the first 6 points for BC.
Well, they did a nice job early attacking the pressure and going to score, and the big fella's got a nice touch in the lane. They spread the ball around and look to move it around the perimeter, but then Jermaine Marshall, Tim Frazier, nothing there because BC attacked him as off the bounce, played him as a driver, gave a lot of help, but Marshall answered. 28 points total on the season, got 15 in the first half because of his efficiency in the lane. And then on the other end of the floor, BC answered late in the half. Matt Humphrey, nice on the perimeter, but backdoor layup as well. BC's best athlete did some stuff in the lane.
Here's a look at some of the other action tonight. NC State leading Indiana at the half. Michigan State by 10 over Florida State. Our second half is underway. Boston College ball. Patrick Heckman off for Gabe Moton. They left him open. He wouldn't take the shot. A lot of dribbling. And Heckman traveled. Turnovers continue to be problematic for Boston College. That's 10.
BC, as we know, they will turn it over, but Penn State has to amp up the defense. They have to be more active with their hands and get up on their dribblers on the perimeter.
Willie Oliver, and now a foul called on Heckman away from the ball. And that's 3 personals on Patrick Heckman. Both teams leading scorer coming in. Been very quiet. Heckman has 2 points and now 3 fouls. Frazier 2 points in the half. He has 2 fouls. Marshall picked up the slack in a big way for Penn State.
Boston College defense has been efficient as Heckman leads the game. Penn State gets to the free throw line about 18 times a game, only 2 in the first half. They have to try to get into the lane to get some easy looks or get to the line.
Frazier typically is the guy who gets them to the line. his penetrating ability. Here's Tim, junior from Houston, Texas. The officials apparently decide at the half they're going to call it really tight away from the ball. There's another foul away from the ball, and it's against Penn State. The third on Oliver, much to the chagrin of Patrick Chambers. He had a busy day this morning. We mentioned at the top of the telecast, last 2 years he was the head coach at Boston University, just a couple of miles up Comm Ave. He went over and got a haircut at Louis, where he always used to get his haircut. He went by T. Anthony's, had a great breakfast, said hello to his old pal Carmela, who makes some of the best food in the city.
Well, if these officials keep calling fouls, Patrick will miss the late dinner in the North End tonight. We won't have much of a broadcast.
It's amazing how that happens. The game gets called one way in the first half. It's almost as if they talk at the half and decide, okay, we have to do more of this or less of that, and then it changes.
Well, one thing that's apparent, this is not a clutch and grab type game.
Most recent foul was on Humphrey, his second. Humphrey missed a three. Rebound by Jermaine Marshall. Frazier's pass at a foot. Goes out of bounds. They say it was last touched by the Nittany Lions.
Just a bad play there by Tim Frazier. He's looking to make something out of nothing instead of a little head fake and get to the rack and then get to the line.
Correct the graphic. Heckman has only 2 points as he sits on the bench with the 3 fouls. They're playing without him.
Penn State's defensive philosophy is guard you to the three-point line and in. Really a sagging man against Boston College.
3 freshmen, a sophomore on the court for BC, and Humphrey the junior, but in his first year at BC as the transfer. And it is a rock-tossing contest to begin the second half. Neither team has scored nearly 2 minutes in.
Penn State doing a nice job right there in man-to-man, but almost playing a zone. 4 guys in the lane, 1 guy on the ball.
Glover, Marshall, Frazier, Oliver, and Travis. Oliver playing with 3 fouls, and there's the first bucket of the second half.
He's got to get his energy up and be more aggressive like he was on that possession.
4 points for Frazier. Another foul away from the ball, and that's going to be on Oliver of Penn State, and that'll be his 4th.
Patrick Chambers saying use your head. You've got 3 fouls, but in Oliver's defense, he was just trying to make a little cut down the lane or defend a cut, and 2 bodies running into each other.
Yep. Totally different approach by these officials here in the second half. Frazier, rebound by Borovniak, and he was fouled on the putback. Patrick Chambers wanted a foul on the original drive, thought Frazier was hit. 1 foul on Moton.
Well, Frazier, this is what he needs to do. He's very good with both hands, but this is where he's at his best, getting in the lane and all the way to the rim, but not drawing the foul, but on the putback.
It looked like he was hit.
He did.
I think that's another thing that drives coaches crazy. If you're going to start calling all the ticky-tack stuff away from the ball, it has little impact on anything. You certainly need to call it when a shooter's fouled in the act.
Well, the problem, too, with the referees when you're trying to referee a game like this, when both teams are almost dysfunctional offensively, there's no good flow, so it becomes almost a foul fest.
Borovniak went 0 for 2 from the line. And that's been another season-long problem for Penn State. They haven't made a free throw tonight, 0 for 4, and they've been a very poor free throw shooting team all season long. They're going to be in the bonus here before the first media timeout at the rate. The fouls are coming now. Marshall called for the foul, his first. Each team with 3 fouls already, and another. Cottle called for his second.
Well, there's where I don't understand. There's really no advantage. Cottle was just trying to pivot about 30 feet from the basket. And regain his balance. Now the officials are going to go to the monitor to see if it's a flagrant one because he swung his elbows.
Steve Donahue pleading his case. Cottle's gone to the bench regardless.
Now this is again where the officials can go to the monitor to review if it was in fact a flagrant one or a flagrant two. In fact, he had swung his elbows above his shoulders, but they were clearly standing right there. And the use of the monitor can be used, but I don't think it's necessary on this play right here. Foul, called a foul, move on. Just trying to create a little space there. Yeah. As Frazier gets up into his space.
Yeah, they look like Frazier had his hand first on Cottle's arm.
Now, if it's me, it's nothing. It's play on.
Well, he didn't hit him in the head. As you said, no advantage gained either way.
You've got a 6'10", 280-pound center, 30 feet from the basket, just trying to pivot, make a pass. So no advantage gained. Nobody's going to score. Frazier didn't get knocked down. If anything, he acted a little bit.
They're very lucky it wasn't on Frazier because he's been plagued by foul trouble the whole time. That's a 3 for Frazier, so maybe he'll find a rhythm here in the second half. He's already had in their first 7 games 3 games this year when he's had 20 or more points and 10 or more assists.
He just dominated one of the games I was at earlier in the year, a win over South Florida. They could not guard him down the stretch. We just put Penn State on his back. Looking to do that right now.
Jackson missed the 3, but Clifford's there on the offensive glass, and he was fouled. And the crowd appreciates the effort of the 7-foot freshman, Dennis Clifford. He just needs to get bigger. Steve Donahue loves his skill level. He's a good runner, kind of guy who can get up and down the floor, but needs time in a college weight room.
I like Clifford, I like Anderson, and I like Heckman for the future for Steve Donahue. Those 3 forwards will be good ACC players probably within a year or 2.
Marshall to steal, and he was fouled on the layup try by Jackson. Freshman from Valencia, California, Lonnie Jackson.
Here's where the bigs get in trouble. Penn State or Boston College big men just not being strong with the ball. They like to throw to their bigs both at the top of the key and in the low post and make them passers, but Penn State too quick.
Marshall makes the free throw. Patrick Ackerman, the 6'11" freshman, back in. Rebound by Anderson. Saw the points and a good night for Marshall. He also has a career high 5 rebounds in tonight's game with a long way to go, more than 16 minutes left. There's Clifford on the offensive glass after the miss by Anderson. And Clifford will go to the line. Well, we talked about the possibility of a bonus both ways before the first media timeout. 5 fouls now on each team.
Clifford just doing a nice job there, powering his way through the middle of Penn State's back line and getting up on the glass. But Ryan Anderson has to be more aggressive. We talked about him as an interesting freshman, part of the future for Steve Donahue. But even on that play, just kind of a half drive into the lane and a looping left-handed hook. He's got to try to put his head down and get to the rim. He's almost 6'9". He's long. He's athletic. But those periods of times in games where he totally disappears.
Frazier pestered by Moton. Tim Frazier never did get away from Moton. That's what you were talking about earlier, Tim, how Steve Donahue raves about Moton as an on-ball defender. Jackson dribbled to the line and buries a 3. Lonnie Jackson starting to come around for BC at 12 points Sunday in 20 minutes in their loss against New Mexico. He had scored only 1 point in the 5 games prior to that. So they think he might have found his confidence and had a breakout game against the Lobos out in Anaheim over the weekend. Clifford blocks the shot from Ackerman. BC by 1. Early stages of the second half. And the 6th team foul of the half against Penn State will get us to the media timeout. It's on Woodyard. BC leading by 1.
South Carolina, Clemson, then K-State, Virginia Tech. Sunday on ESPNU.
Chuck Norris is a hunter, but Chuck Norris does not hunt. Hunting would imply the possibility of failure. There are 10 million people in the world of Warcraft because Chuck Norris allows them to live. I'm Chuck Norris, and I approve this game. World of Warcraft. Try it free at warcraft.com. Rated T for Team. What's your game?
How much did you pay for your new car?
What if you could find out what everyone else paid for the car you want before you bought a new car? Well, now you can. Introducing TrueCar.com, the hassle-free, haggle-free, totally free new way to get a guaranteed low price on a new car. Log on to TrueCar.com. Choose the car you want. First, TrueCar.com shows you what others actually paid for the car you're looking for. Then TrueCar.com finds you an even better available price. In minutes, you'll have a TrueCar price protection certificate that you can print out. Take it to a TrueCar certified dealer near you where you can pick up your new car.
I saved $8,300 on TrueCar.com. TrueCar.com was free.
And we saved a heck of a lot of money.
Took 3 clicks and I knew exactly what I was going to pay for the car that I wanted to buy.
The research is done for you by TrueCar.com.
So log on to the hassle-free, haggle-free, totally free way to buy a new car. That's TrueCar.com.
Delighted to have you with us for the Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods from the Connie Forum, Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, where BC leads Penn State by 1. One of the surprises, Virginia's victory over Michigan. That was in Charlottesville, led by Mike Scott. Ohio State pummeled Duke last night. And of course, the headline among the 6 games tonight in the Big Ten ACC Challenge, Wisconsin and North Carolina.
Bo Ryan called it the challenge within the challenge, Sean. Kendall Marshall versus Jordan Taylor at the point guard spot. A little mano-a-mano.
So 6 games tonight to wrap it up. The Big Ten gets a split tonight. They'll win this challenge for the 3rd straight year after losing each of the first 10 years. Lonnie Jackson, nicely designed play out of the timeout by Steve Donahue and beautifully executed by Boston College, and you really can see the confidence of Jackson growing.
Well, shades of Troy Bell from the old days here at the Conti Forum. Maybe a little life for BC.
Frazier trying to probe that defense. He got stripped. 3-on-1 for BC. Humphrey all the way. 9-0 run for Boston College to take a 6-point lead. And a quick timeout by Patrick Chambers. His team got blitzed 5-zip right out of the timeout.
Penn State came out firing, but BC answered, especially in transition.
I don't want to get up. I don't want to go to work. I hate mornings. Great, I have 20 minutes. No time for coffee. Hello, my friend.
Can't get it together in the morning? Try 5-Hour Energy. It's simple, effective, and unlike coffee, it's ready right now. No waiting, no hassle.
Let's do this.
5-Hour Energy, the no wait, no hassle way to a great morning.
21st Century Insurance here with proof that many of you are paying too much for your car insurance. These 2 cars have the same coverage, one through Allstate, the other through 21st Century. Both cars are covered, so both cars get the same repairs. Here's the difference, though. Drivers who switch from Allstate to 21st save an average of $516 a year for the same coverage. Aha, you say, but what if I don't have Allstate? Well, that's okay, because drivers who switch from Progressive to 21st save even more. Call 21st Century right now if you're near a phone, and really, who isn't these days? At 888-GET-2121, that's 888-GET-2121. Or visit 21st.com. 21st Century Auto Insurance, the same great coverage for less.
Three ball by Lonnie Jackson, part of this BC rally. They've taken a 6-point lead, 14.5 to go. ESPNU's coverage of the Home Depot College Football Awards Show starts Thursday, December 8th, 5 p.m. from the Walt Disney World Boardwalk. Best players and coaches from this season all under one roof. Always a big night. Those players and coaches hoping to hear their names called as the winner of one of 9 prestigious awards in college football. Exclusive VIP access all night long on ESPNU. Penn State represented at that award show. The Defensive Player of the Year, Chuck Bednarik Award. Devin Still, their fine defensive tackle, among the 3 finalists for that award.
BC showing a little aggressive zone out of the timeout for Steve Donahue.
Ross Travis, the elbow to Marshall. What a night he's having.
BC came out and showed the zone, aggressive on the perimeter, but Marshall doing a nice job of finding that seam in the middle.
Matches his career high 18 points. He had 18 against Purdue in January. Trey Lewis called for his second foul, and that puts Penn State over the limit with 14 minutes to go.
Very surprising, too, because Penn State does a nice job of playing their defense from the inside out. They don't get out and overplay much. They're feisty on the ball, but their game plan today, they talked about making BC beat them from the perimeter. That time, Jackson missed almost everything.
Floater wouldn't go for Marshall, and the rebound down of Ryan Anderson. Now Jackson. Heckman's back on the floor with 3 fouls for BC. They lead despite very little production from their leading scorer Heckman, averaging 14 a game. Humphrey. Good defense by Travis. Apparently stuck his leg out at the last minute. Did a great job of staying in front of the player he was guarding.
He did, Sean. It looked like Humphrey was out of control, going to his weak hand and just kind of lowering his shoulder. And Travis looked like he had a very good defensive position there, and Humphrey just fell down.
3 fouls on Travis. 18 fouls now. BC's going to shoot a lot of foul shots the rest of the way. 66% as a team for the year. Humphrey 58% coming in. Makes the first of a 1-and-1.
One of the stats on the year that is a positive for BC is they do get to the free throw line, about 22 a game. They know that they're not a good perimeter shooting team, so they do a nice job of cutting and driving, and right now they have to take advantage of being in the bonus early.
And that's unusual for Steve Donahue. Remember, his teams at Cornell like to spread the floor in the half-court offense. They want really 5 players who are skilled and can handle, a center who can pass, and typically they rely heavily on the 3, but they really don't have a lot of good 3-point shooters on this team. Frazier strong to the goal. He'll have a chance for the old-fashioned 3-point play.
Well, even though Moton's done a very nice job with him all night long, giving him some space here on the dribble handoff at the top. He has that nice hesitation move and knows how to draw the contact. Really making something out of nothing. Well, Frazier right now, he has to understand the way this game is being called. He should be smiling from ear to ear because he should know that if he can drive in there and draw any sort of contact, he's going to get to the line.
They double Cottle and take it away, and then a steal by Moton. 3-point lead, Boston College.
BC very fortunate there, throwing it to Cottle in a spot on the floor that he doesn't belong at all.
BC 21-13 last year, but they lost 10 lettermen, including their leading scorer, Reggie Jackson. Anderson couldn't finish around the bucket. Travis denied, and a held ball was called. The shot was blocked by Humphrey and Cottle. Penn State ball, 28 to shoot.
You can see Tim Frazier starting to try to make things happen on his own. That time drawing the defense, and Travis doing a nice job of cutting to the rack.
Horovniak fouled by Cottle. Well, now both teams are over the limit. That's 3 personals on the big fella, Cottle.
Well, we talked about Frazier having to understand that, but both coaches have to tell their team and tell the guys on the bench, the assistant coaches, listen, don't settle, because they are calling fouls. Now we have 15 fouls called in less than 8 minutes already here in the second half.
There were 17 total in the first half. Just totally different tone set by the officials from the minute they came out of the locker room.
So you're not going to change that. So as a coach, you have to tell your team, let's take advantage of that offensively, understanding we have to drive the ball to the basket.
And the game doesn't look to be any more physical. There are many episodes where you thought it might get out of control, so they had to clamp down. Cottle goes out in a 1-point game, 12.5 to go. Pressure 1-2-2 brought by Penn State.
This is Villanova's 1-2-2 that Pat Chambers brought with him to BU. Now here, trying to be aggressive on the perimeter and trap in the corners.
Frederick spent 5 years as an assistant to Jay Wright at Villanova. They went to the tournament all 5 years. Humphrey called for the offensive foul as Marshall stepped in to draw the charge, and that's 3 fouls on Matt Humphrey.
Here you see BC's lack of a good, quick, penetrating guard. Humphrey trying to just do too much here, leaving his feet way too far out from the rim. Should have drove and kicked it back out to the perimeter.
Well, they have 2 good guards, they think, coming in next year that they signed in the early signing period, including Olivier Hanlon, who's from Quebec. Kevin Pangos, the freshman, native Canadian, doing a great job up at Gonzaga. BC recruited him heavily, too. And Steve Donahue thinks Hanlon is every bit as good, if not better. And that's saying a lot, because we've seen what an impact Pangos has had already, including 33 against Washington State at the start of the year.
Well, that'll help Steve sleep better through this year because of the fact they've got pretty solid forwards, but they really need some help at the guard spot moving forward.
Anderson for 3. Wow, don't think that drew any rim. The shot clock didn't reset, so apparently it did not. Held ball on the floor. It'll be Boston College ball with 12 seconds to go on the shot clock. 1-point game, Boston College leading Penn State in the Big Ten ACC Challenge.
My name is Penn. I play basketball at University of Illinois. I love playing basketball because I love watching the game. I'm a student of the game. I just love everything that has to do with basketball. When I had both my knee surgeries, it made me stop taking for granted the talent that God had given me and definitely appreciate everything that came my way.
If you like video games, you need to be a member of GameFly.
Real gamers talk about why they love GameFly.
Just go online, put games in your game queue.
They come in the mail. You get to keep it as long as you want. Ship it out, and you get your next one.
Join GameFly now with this special TV offer and get all the games you want delivered right to your home for one low monthly fee.
Due dates? None. Late fees? Non-existent.
With over 8,000 titles, GameFly is the best way to rent video games.
First-person shooters, RPGs, multiplayer games, access to every single game I could possibly imagine.
Get started at GameFly.com now. Save money and play your favorite games all year long.
GameFly has a great value.
Want to own a game you're playing? Buy it from GameFly for a discounted price.
I buy almost all my games from GameFly now.
Go to GameFly.com now. Click the joystick in the top right corner
Enter college in the box and get started with a free extended trial. And remember, you can cancel at any time. Product shown rated E through M. GameFly also offers gift certificates for the gamer in your life. Save up to 20%.
You have to have this service. You call yourself a gamer, you have to have it.
Well, we mentioned it's a homecoming of sorts for Patrick Chambers. Spent the previous 2 seasons just a couple of miles from here at Boston University. Led them to the America East Tournament Championship last spring. Took them to the NCAAs where they lost to Kansas. 21-14 both seasons at BU for Patrick Chambers. Took over for the winningest coach in the history of the school, Dennis Wolf. It wasn't a program that was way down. Dennis Wolf done a terrific job for a decade and a half, but Patrick did something no coach at BU ever did, and that's win 20 or more in each of his first 2 seasons. And when you think they've had Rick Pitino and Mike Jarvis and John Kuster and some other pretty successful coaches there, that's quite an accomplishment.
And Joe Jones, another ex-Villanova assistant, doing a terrific job at BU as well this year.
Well, they kind of stayed in the family there at BU. Again, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. Nice execution, and Lonnie Jackson working on a big night.
That's what Boston College needs more of. More cuts away from the ball instead of standing on the perimeter and taking contested threes.
Oliver back in. It is 4 fouls. Lewis missed a 3. It got tipped back out. And Jackson couldn't save it, but Steve Donahue loves the hustle. And that's what a lot of his coaching is going to be about this year, keeping the attitude and the effort level high, because he knows they're in for a long season in terms of the wins and losses with a young team.
A lot of energy right now provided by Lonnie Jackson, and some plays as well. The threes and the cuts to the rim.
"12 turnovers for Penn State now. There's Jackson. And now Heckman back in. Moton goes out for BC. It's Jackson, Heckman, Cal, Clifford, and Anderson for Boston College. Glover, Lewis, Frazier, Oliver, and Borovniak for Penn State. And the Nittany Lions took it away. Lewis forced it up, rebounded by Clifford. Did well to keep it away from the 2 Lions who were trying to poke it free.
Well, we talk a lot about Boston College freshmen, but Trey Lewis right now struggling at the point with his decision making. First a turnover, then just a really forced shot.
Lonnie Jackson called for the foul, his second. 9 team fouls against BC. We've had as many fouls in this half as we did the entire first half. Still 10:24 to go.
Well, I like this move by Patrick Chambers, though, moving Tim Frazier to the point. They're having trouble entering the ball to him on the wing. Let him run the show from the top.
And a 3 for Tim Frazier.
That takes away the intrigue of having get him open. Just have him dribble up the court. Not necessarily no pass and a shot every time, but he makes things happen.
Well, they're used to scoring touchdowns at Penn State, but that was just a 3-point field goal there. Tied at 42. We gave him credit for 6. More than midway through the second half, tied at 42.
Frazier was getting frustrated. That may open some things up for him.
Humphrey. Just his second 3 of the night. He's 2 for 8. Frazier, they came to strip him. Good hands by Humphrey, but BC never fully took it away. And then Jermaine Marshall continues working on the best night of his career.
Marshall really playing aggressive, and Pat Chambers can throw out the playbook because it's one pass and a shot, or dribble and no shot.
Marshall came in shooting 29% from the floor for the season, 28% from 3. He's 8 for 12 from the floor tonight. Blocking foul called against Matt Glover. Third foul on Glover.
A couple of the guys for Steve Donahue that he's talked about that he feels can make plays as they move forward. are Lonnie Jackson and Matt Humphrey. And last 4 or 5 minutes, they've been key guys, just providing energy, not only from the three-point line, but there Humphrey making it a great athletic play to the rim.
4 for 4 from the line tonight.
Humphrey playing a little point guard. And maybe not the most advisable shot with his percentages, but they'll take offense anywhere they can get it.
Humphrey's got an interesting year from the line. Whoa, he did 15 in a row before that one. Started the season 4 for 14. Foul on Odio, didn't mean to. He just ran into the back of Frazier. Humphrey was 4 for 14 from the line to start the year, then made 15 in a row. Before that, miss. That's a streaky foul shooter.
Well, what happens, Sean, in your year off? I mean, you lose a little bit of that edge you have. And the transfer from Oregon clearly has the talent, but just trying to find his way, not only in Steve Donahue's system, but getting his feel back to play on this level.
Foul on Odio is his first. Frazier makes the first free throw. Well, we're at the home of one of the best college hockey programs in the nation, and Steve Donahue substituting, making a line change.
To watch a little Jerry York's practice last night, that's always a clinic. The head hockey coach here at BC.
One of the most successful college hockey coaches of all time, and one of the best guys you'd ever want to meet, too. Tied at 46, under 9 minutes to go.
Penn State stays in the man-to-man play from the inside out, their heels on the three-point line, not chasing on the perimeter. Well, right now, Sean, the fouls are coming because right now Penn State is chasing the cutters. They're not jumping to the ball. BC runs a lot of cuts off the foul line from the off-guard spot, and Penn State's trying to trail instead of go over the top or jump to the ball.
Glover called for his 4th foul. Both teams in the double bonus. And Moton missed the first of 2. Ross Travis comes back in. And Glover will sit with his 4 fouls. Moton played in every game last year, but was for the most part a deep bench player. Boston College leads despite the fact that the Eagles have more turnovers, 17, than made field goals. They've made 15. Frazier trying to find a seam, dribbled into traffic and turned it over to Anderson.
There's one thing to be aggressive, but right there Frazier just drove into 4 people. Usually does a pretty good job of keeping his dribble and getting out of trouble. Not that time.
Under 8 minutes to go. Heckman, Anderson, good defense, good recovery by Dubrovniak, and again to reject the shot from Anderson. Frazier on the push, off to Travis, and we're tied again at 48.
A good push by Penn State after the ill-advised shot by Anderson, but Anderson compounding the problem, just jogging back on defense, feeling sorry for himself.
Timeout. Steve Donahue would have had one on the next whistle for the media timeout, but decided he didn't want to wait for it. 7:35 to go, 48 all. Tomorrow night, ESPNU with a doubleheader from the HTC Big East SEC Challenge. A lot of initials in that. First at 7, Providence meets South Carolina. Then at 9, it's Ole Miss and DePaul. The HTC Big East SEC Challenge on ESPNU tomorrow night.
Of course, Andy Kennedy, the Ole Miss coach, spent a few minutes in the Big East at Cincinnati.
And he is a terrific player in Murphy Holloway. 20 against TCU. Double-double against Miami. The SEC Player of the Week.
Of course, Boston College will travel down the road to the great state of Rhode Island to play Providence next week.
That's the next game for the Eagles on December 8th.
A quick trap out of the zone here. Out of the timeout for Pat Chambers.
Jackson with 15 to shoot. Down to 10 on the clock. Heckman. Moton. And the rebound, Travis, for Penn State, the freshman.
I like that defense right there by Penn State. Stay in the zone. I think BC will struggle against it.
Frazier found himself open at the top of the three-point arc, and he has picked it up here in the second half. Had 2 points at the half, now has 18.
Back to man-to-man. Surprising move with all the fouls. BC in the double bonus. Penn State will continue to play man here on this possession.
Frazier thought he had a tie up. Instead, it's a foul on Frazier, and that's his fourth, and that is highly problematic for Patrick Chambers. Frazier's the best player in this game. His three has given the Lions the lead.
It's nice to be here. It's nice to see you in my bed. There are diamonds in her eyes, and they sparkle in the night. When the moment comes alive.
This is your moment. This is Zales, the diamond store. Take up to an extra 15% off store-wide now through Tuesday.
At Enterprise, we take renting a car personally.
And we want your rental experience to be perfect.
But if there ever is a problem, we all have the power to make it right.
I don't have to find a manager. I don't have to make a phone call.
I can make it right.
I can make it right.
I can make it right.
We all can.
At Enterprise, we live customer service.
Let us show you what that means.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Penn State by 3, but they have foul troubles. Tim Frazier, Billy Oliver, 2 starters. Frazier, their best player, with 4 fouls apiece. Friends, we hope you'll help us beat cancer. The V Foundation rewards 100% of direct donations and net proceeds of events to fund cancer research. Log on to www.jimmyb.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-B to donate. On the campus of Boston College, Eagles picked last in the preseason ACC poll. Out of the 12 teams, the Big Ten doesn't have a poll that goes all the way to the bottom. Of Penn State and most of the preseason publications picked last. But if they get a big year out of Frazier, they might surprise.
Well, they're going to have to get a big year out of him. And what Pat Chambers has had is a big second half. 2 points in the first half, but he's come to life after the break with 16. Now with his 4th foul, though, Pat Chambers has a big question. What do you do? When do you put him back in? And, again, Sean, on that last possession, surprised that Penn State went back to the man-to-man. They know this game has been called very tightly. Both teams got into the double bonus just inside the 10-minute mark. Frazier with 3. They had just come off a very good defensive possession in their zone, and BC doesn't shoot it well. If I'm Pat Chambers, I go back to the zone, try to buy some time with Frazier on the bench.
The free throw shooting rough on both sides. BC's now 11 out of 19 as Heckman missed his first of the night. 7-footer Dennis Clifford back in for the Eagles. Heckman's from Germany. He spent 1 year in this country as an exchange student in high school in Colorado. Speaks English very well. Penn State, we mentioned early in the game, they tend to improve in terms of shooting the second half. They certainly have tonight. 50% from the floor here in the second half.
Marshall's been huge. He's going to have to take over the offense with Frazier on the bench.
Trying to take Jackson off the bounce and got bailed out. Forced up a tough shot, but got fouled. And he'll shoot 2.
Pat Chambers wasn't happy. They kind of didn't stay within the structure of the offense, but Jermaine Marshall is the only other player really on Penn State that can make a play on his own, and that's what he's going to have to do until Tim Frazier comes back in the game.
Did you see a foul there?
I saw it straight up.
Marshall, when we say he's having a career night, we really mean it. The foul on Jackson was his 3rd, so he's going to go out and Humphries back in. For Jermaine Marshall tonight, a career high in points, rebounds, field goals made, field goals attempted, and 3-pointers made.
Again, we talked about it. at half. He's only scored 28 points on the season, and he has 22 for the night.
And this is the largest lead for Penn State. Boston College had an 8-point lead early on. Right now it's the Nittany Lions by 4 as we tick down near 6 minutes remaining.
1-2-2, back to the man-to-man now for Penn State.
First meeting in a decade between these two schools. Heckman, one-on-one on Woodyard. Cal with the shot clock running out. They have to shoot. Heckman, desperation 2, wouldn't go. Rebounded by Marshall.
Very good defense. Better job by Penn State jumping to the ball on those high post cuts.
Marshall open at the elbow. Rebound down to Moton. Well guarded by Lewis. Another foul away from the ball. It's been the theme from the opening seconds of this half. Fouls on Lewis, his third. Elsewhere tonight in the Big Ten ACC Challenge, been a tight one between Indiana and NC State all the way. Florida State by a point over Michigan State. And the big one still to come on ESPN at 9:30 Eastern. Number 7 Wisconsin, number 5 North Carolina. Already a surprising loss for the Tar Heels against UNLV.
Looks like Harrison Barnes' ankle is fine. He will play tonight. He injured it in the UNLV loss. And Virginia Tech, Minnesota, interesting game. Minnesota tough break down in Orlando in the finals against Dayton, losing their terrific forward Trevor Mbakwe to an ACL tear.
Their leading scorer and rebounder. Moton makes 2. Cut the BC deficit in half.
He's a real good player. What a tough break for Minnesota.
5 minutes to go as expected between these two very young and experienced teams. A tight one. Coaches knew it would be like this. Not always pretty, but they thought they'd get great effort, and they have. In the season when it's going to be hard to come by wins for either one of these two teams, this is big. Opportunity to get one against the opponent whom you're evenly matched. Held ball. Penn State keeps it. Almost a full shot clock at 33. Frazier back on the floor with 4 fouls.
The interesting thing, if you had a more experienced team, Sean, I think you'd say step in and try to draw the foul. The offensive foul.
He's fouled, and a beautiful shot hung in the air. Took the hit softly off the glass for 2 and a chance for 3.
Well, as I was saying, maybe step in and draw the charge. He's got 4 fouls. Pat Chambers taking the chance. You know what he wants to do. He wants to do this. He wants to get to the rim. He leaves his feet, but great body control. Humphrey flying into him.
4 fouls on Humphrey. Major foul concerns for both teams. Frazier last year averaged only 6 points per game, but he took about 5 shots per game on that senior-laden team. He was the setup man at 173 assists. This year, with all those terrific players gone, they need him to score, and he has.
He learned how to play and how to be a scorer, just playing against and with Taylor Battle every day. A lot of similarities.
Timeout, Boston College. Steve Donahue didn't like the way that offensive possession was going. The shot clock down to 13, and the offense didn't appear to be going anywhere fast. Friday night, it's the HTC Big East SEC Challenge. A doubleheader right here on ESPNU starting at 7. Cincinnati Bearcats, a lot expected from Yancey Gates. And the Bearcats this year, they'll take on Georgia. And then at 9, it's Auburn and Seton Hall. HTC Big East SEC Challenge on ESPNU Friday night. And of course, some of these matchups are going to change in the coming years with conference realignment continuing to be the order of the day.
Interesting, West Virginia says they're leaving. Big East says you're not. So I think West Virginia, though, is already printing the logos for the Big 12 to put on their uniforms.
That'll likely be decided by the courts unless they can reach some settlement out of court.
Look for Penn State, Sean, here with only 13 on the shot clock to play their matchup zone, make BC make a play from the outside.
Moton, Humphrey, and now Jackson back in. Steve Donahue, after the timeout, gets a better offensive team on the floor. They've gone more than 5 minutes without a field goal. Heckman missed a tough leaner at the shot clock buzzer, and it was pulled down by Cameron Woodyard.
A good move there by Pat Chambers, switching up defenses. Only minimal time on the clock. BC doesn't have that breakdown guard.
Timeout called with 3:58 to go. Let's send you back to the studio now.
All right, Sean, coming up after this game, Wake Forest, Nebraska. The Big Ten ACC tip-off continues. Travis Mackay of the Demon Deacons averaging better than 19 per game. Wake coming off a win against Texas Tech on Sunday. In progress, Big Ten ACC Challenge. This is Indiana, NC State. Big three from Christian Watford. The Hoosiers trying to stay unbeaten. They're up by 1.
Some tight games tonight in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. BC 5-0 all-time in this event. The only team with a perfect record in either league. Well, that record's in jeopardy. They're trying to avoid falling to 2-5 for the young season. Frazier. New look defense here from Steve Donahue. A little 1-3-1 that they used effectively against New Mexico to cut into a big deficit in that game.
Chess match here. Interesting timeout there with the TV timeout coming. Though Pat Chambers wanted to call something.
Frazier lost it on the bounce, got it back, threw it up for grabs. Shot clock 2. And it spins out for Ross Travis on an offensive rebound by Cameron Woodyard. And a new shot clock with 3:25 to go.
Well, BC was unfortunate with the loose ball there. Their defensive position on the rebounds.
Marshall off a nice setup from Frazier. Travis worked to keep it alive. It'll be Penn State's ball again. After the media timeout, ESPNU's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
Okay, people, let's get started. Pete, did you forget yours?
Me, Pete. Me use pen.
Sorry I'm late. I was in the 16th century looking for Pete's pen.
Guys, take it easy, okay? Pete's mom's video chat means she wants her pen back.
Okay, all right. Well, I just got one. So.
Yeah, you got a little.
I can feel the wet patch. Don't look at it.
When it's on your mind, it's on eBay.
So, have you started your holiday shopping yet?
I've been looking a little.
Got any ideas?
You know me, I've always got ideas.
Show her she's loved with a Hellsberg Diamonds gift box, Godiva chocolate gems, and diamond pendant.
I love you.
You do?
I just love just the environment, just being around certain things that involve football, people, just the emotions involved with it, the fans. I kind of look at it like when I'm out there, I can turn into whoever I want to be. I can be Superman. I can be whoever I want to be out there, and can't nobody tell me otherwise. They just got to try to get to the end zone.
Coming up next on ESPNU, both Spencer and Nebraska take on Wake Forest in the Big Ten ACC Challenge. Nebraska, of course, the Big Ten's newest member. Michigan State, they've been there for a while, taking on Florida State at the Breslin Center. Keith Appling, he can shoot it. Knocking down the triple, he's got 11 points, 7 boards. The Spartans up by 9. Meanwhile, Indiana looking to go to 7-0. They have a 6-point lead in Raleigh with less than 3 minutes to play.
All right, thank you very much. Boy, what a great win that would be for Tom Crean. He's building back up that Indiana program. These two coaches trying to do the same with these two schools. Penn State leading by 4. The marquee matchup tonight in the Big Ten ACC Challenge, 9:30. Eastern time, about 20 minutes from now on ESPN and ESPN3. Wisconsin and North Carolina.
Some unbelievable numbers put on the board by Wisconsin. 47% from three, plus 14 rebounding, 31% field goal defense. I mean, Bo Ryan has built a power in Madison.
Out of the timeout, a lot of shot clock left for Penn State as we near 3 minutes remaining. Sean McDonough, Tim Welsh from Connie Forum in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Frazier. And they turn it over. His pass off the hands of Travis. Costly mistake by Penn State. Moton, Cal, Jackson, Clifford, and Heckman, a big possession for BC. Jackson, stop and go move, got away from Marshall for only a moment. Heckman, the freshman's had an up and down freshman year, and that's continued tonight with a bit of a down performance. Cal, the strong drive. Offensive foul. Well, even the ref's kid can't get a break.
Driving in, Cal looks like he's got a lane to the rim. The help comes a little late, but Oliver gets squared up. He draws the charge.
Offensive foul, first foul on Cal. And a big call because he would have fouled Oliver out of the game.
You see back in the 1-3-1.
Good effort by Cal, and a timeout called. Cal went for the steal, caused a disruption, and Frazier had to use the timeout, leaving Patrick Chambers with only one. These two coaches are longtime friends, both from Philadelphia. They have a connection to Philadelphia University, where Patrick Chambers played, went there as a walk-on, wound up as the all-time leading assist man for the legendary Herb McGee, now in the Hall of Fame. Steve Donahue spent a couple of years as an assistant to Herb McGee. Steve Donahue went on to Penn as an assistant for 10 years to Fran Dunphy, where he coached Patrick Chambers' brother Paul, who was a 3-year starting point guard at Penn. Patrick and Steve Donahue played together in under 6-foot leagues in Philadelphia. They have summer spots they go to down on the beach in New Jersey near each other, try to schedule so they're down there at the same time. They're very good pals competing against each other tonight.
Well, good move here by Steve Donahue. They've got to get the ball down in the corner, but they take the quick shot.
Wow, and Marshall on 3, and then it was taken back by Frazier. Under 2 minutes to go, full shot clock for Penn State. Heckman careful not to foul Frazier. They're going to stay in that 1-3-1 and try to trap the Eagles.
As I was saying, when Marshall jacked up the quick shot, they need to get the ball to the baseline and then skip it.
And the key right now, the great work on the offensive glass. Hell ball go to BC. But Patrick Chambers said the one thing we've done really well is offensive rebound. They were the leading offensive rebounding team in the Big Ten coming in with nearly 15 a game. Of course, Patrick made a joke. He said some of those, we missed so many shots. We have a lot of chances to go rebound our own misses. But he preaches attitude, and that's what it's been down the stretch here. They've been getting more than their share of the loose balls.
They have, but they had some major problems in those last couple possessions attacking the 1-3-1. They stayed on the perimeter. They didn't get the skip pass. They got no penetration. They took some forced shots.
Wake Forest and Nebraska next. The Cornhuskers in their first year in the Big Ten, hoping to get to the tournament this year under Doc Sadler. They have an improved team.
4-point lead. He took Frazier out of the game.
Cal missed a 3. Their best three-point shooter by percentage. I think that gives you an idea of the state of the BC program right now. There's Cal, who walked on last year as a senior, played admirably, but they didn't think he was going to play this year. He was going to help out in the basketball office. He decided to go to grad school and play. He isn't even in the media guide as a returning player. Travis scores inside. That might be the one that salts it away for Penn State with as much difficulty as BC has to score. Timeout. Steve Donahue. Each team with one timeout left.
Well, they've had trouble attacking the 1-3-1, but on the last possession, better job of spreading the court out, understanding, and here, attacking Tim Frazier. He's the guy. He looks to get into the lane, drawing the foul. He's been a major player with a lot of major moments.
Yeah, terrific players wind up with their numbers eventually at only 2 points at the half, but now Frazier has 20 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, shooting above 500, above 50% from both the floor and the three-point arc, 3 out of 4 from the line. And that's been the difference in this game in the second half. That and down the stretch here, the hustle plays being made by Penn State.
The hustle plays on the glass, being able to hide Frazier a little bit with the 4 fouls, taking him in and out of the game. And on that last possession, finally getting the ball down to the baseline and not forcing a shot, but overloading the zone and having Ross Travis flash in from the weak side to get the easy look against that 1-3-1 zone.
7 newcomers for Penn State this year, including 5 true freshmen, a redshirt freshman, a transfer. We mentioned 9 freshmen at BC, 7 of them on scholarship. The transfer Humphrey active this year. Lots of new pieces, lots of young talent needing to be molded and assembled. And these coaches will do a lot of skill work over the year too to just get them better individually and collectively.
Now the problem is when you come to the game as a coach, you don't know who you're going to play because you don't know, you have no consistency out there. You don't know what lineup's going to work for you, and you're constantly searching, and that's what BC's been doing.
BC down 6. They really don't have the kind of three-point shooters that you'd love to have in this situation. So Moton went to the goal, missed a layup, and then fouled Woodyard after he got the rebound. And Doug Flutie can't believe it. It's been that kind of a night down the stretch for Boston College.
Well, Steve Donahue has to continue to do what he's been doing. Just stay positive. He has great energy. He's a tremendous teacher, but he understands the wins will be few and far between with this group just because they're just not talented enough. You look at them, you know they're not an ACC ready team or ready for even a mid-major level this year.
Largest lead now for Penn State. Brovniak goes to the bench. And one more for Woodyard. Patrick Chambers was without him for a couple of weeks of practice. He had his knee scoped, his left knee, in early October. 13-3 run here at the end of the ball game for Penn State. Jackson's 3 wouldn't go. Travis, another effort rebound. And he's fouled. And it will be a happy homecoming back to Boston, where he spent the last couple of years for Patrick Chambers. Youngest of 12 children, so he knows what it's like to scrap and claw and battle.
Well, he's a battler, and he's got this group playing in his style. And really the key to tonight's game, Tim Frazier, you know what you're going to get from him. He had a poor first half. He's been saddled with foul trouble. He got his numbers in the second half, but Jermaine Marshall gave them another option out there on the floor. And that's what they need. It just can't be Tim Frazier and the gang. He needs some help.
1 out of 2 for Travis. Indiana did defeat NC State tonight, and Penn State's going to win this ball game. So that means the Big Ten needs just one more win to win the Big Ten ACC Challenge for the 3rd year in a row. Cal makes the 3, and very likely too little too late for Steve Donahue and the Boston College Eagles. 6-point game, 18 seconds to go. Let's send you back to the studio. Here's Anish.
That's Wake Forest. C.J. Harris averaging almost 20 points per game, 2nd in the ACC. Demon Deacons taking on Nebraska. A game about a minute away from hitting the airwaves. Meanwhile, they've got final in Raleigh. Indiana knocking off NC State. Big 3 here by Jordan Hall. Tom Crean's Hoosiers 7-0 now. Meanwhile, Michigan State leading Florida State 51-44 with less than 4 to play. Big Ten doing pretty well in this Big Ten ACC Challenge.
Yes, indeed, Anish, and doing well here as well. 6-point lead for the Nittany Lions. Big season for Tom Crean. He inherited an absolute mess. I remember the team he brought over to Maui at the beginning of his first year. It looked like a high school team after the difficulties with the NCAA during the Kelvin Sampson era. But he's built the talent level back up. He's doing it the right way. They have another terrific recruiting class coming next year. It looks like the future's very bright for Indiana.
Well, it is. And, you know, he had a big job there, and he's got all the years he wanted on his contract, and he's going to do it the right way. It wasn't going to be a quick fix. And having coached against Tom for years at Marquette, you know his teams are going to play hard and fierce. And once he gets the talent, he will have them back in the national spotlight.
Matt Glover to play it in for Penn State. They do have a timeout if they can't get it in. They get it to Frazier. He's fouled immediately by Jonathan Daniels. His first foul, the freshman from Fontana, California.
It's not fair, though, Sean. All this happiness in the Crean, Harbaugh family, all this winning going on. Of course, Tom married to one of the Harbaughs.
Yeah, Joni Harbaugh Crean, the sister of Jim and John Harbaugh. She just can't get away from coaches. Her dad, Jack, one of the all-time great guys, and himself a very successful football coach. Won a national title at Western Kentucky and then Division I AA. 2 free throws by Frazier. His 5th game of 20 points or more this season in 8 games for Penn State. Jackson had to jack a quick 3. Rebound Oliver. And Steve Donahue waves off his team. Back on Commonwealth Ave in Boston. It's been a happy place over the last couple of years for Patrick Chambers. So another win for the Big Ten. Final score 62-54. Penn State over Boston College. For Tim Welsh and our great crew, Sean McDonough saying so long from Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. Now let's send you to Mitch Holtis in Lincoln, Nebraska.
All right, Sean, thanks. The Big Ten making a statement with 2 road wins last night. They've got 2 this evening. And here Wake Forest will try to get one for the ACC. Let's all officially welcome Nebraska to the Big Ten and to the Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. As tonight, Wake Forest in town against the Cornhuskers, Miles, and Nebraska trying to make a statement that they belong in the league and in the challenge.
Yeah, Nebraska, they do belong. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. Doc Sadler does a great job of coaching them up. They were top 10 nationally last year defensively.
C.J. Harris has had a great year shooting threes. They're going to allow this? Nope. It hits the top of the backboard. And let's go to the tote board, where the Big Ten lost 10 straight challenges. They've won the last 2. And Miles, look what they're doing right now. Up 6-2. It takes 7 to win. If Nebraska wins, it puts them over the line.
Yeah, and really the ACC, probably a down year for the ACC. Duke and Carolina obviously very strong, but even Duke took a big loss last night at Ohio State.
Caleb Walker robbed on a 3-point attempt off the press break by Nebraska. Nebraska this year blemished with just 1 loss. That was here to Oregon. The Rosiers. Up the pop, and Nebraska's got it back.
Well, you see the Huskers are really going to make them play from the perimeter tonight. They'll give up that shot to the Rosiers just as long as nothing's getting inside of the paint.
Walker tries it again, misses badly. And rebounding tonight, as it will all year, will be a big key for Wake Forest.
Yeah, Wake Forest is -7 per game on the year. They got to do better. They got to really control the glass, play a little bit tougher.
A real problem last year for the young Demon Deacons, as they went just 1-15 in the ACC. Let's take a look at our starters tonight. As a foul on Wake Forest. And for the Demon Deacons, C.J. Harris has really shot it well. He's a good complement to Mackay. And for Nebraska, they're doing the same thing. Richardson has shot it well. Walker shot it well. But how much of that is Spencer getting them shots?
Well, Spencer's done a great job of distributing the basketball at LSU. Had a poor assist-to-turnover ratio, but since he's come to Nebraska playing for Doc Sadler, he's 2-to-1 assist-to-turnovers this year. Really doing an excellent job of taking care of the basketball.
There's a look at Bo Spencer. He can score as well. He had 22 in the Huskers' double overtime win in Los Angeles against USC. Wide open look for Richardson off the inbounds play.
And you're going to watch Wake Forest offensively. They really don't bring a guy to the post unless it's off a back cut